Hello.
Yeah. Hi, ma'am.
So today we'll be doing that is we'll try to understand what is supply chain management. I'm not getting any response from anyone.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, are you able to hear me, ma'am? Hello.
So what do you understand by supply chain management? It is a network of interconnected. Here, there are so to make a thing from raw material to finished good and then to deliver it to the customer. It is the joint effort of various groups, various activities are done to make this happen. So formally we can say it is the management of a network of interconnected businesses involved in the ultimate provision of product and service packages required by the end customers. See, for example, suppose if you are making dress or any shirt or anything from raw material will be cotton wool. From cotton wool, it is being made into yarn. From yarn to cloth. Cloth, again, pattern is cut and stitched and then it is delivered to the customers. So there is not only one person involved in it. There are several parties involved in it and they're interconnected. Supply chain management spans all movement and storage of raw materials, work in process inventory, and finished goods, and from point of origin to point of consumption. The point of origin was your cotton wool, getting the raw material from the suppliers, and then processing it, and finally turning into the product which is required by the customers, product or service. A simple supply chain is made of several elements that are linked by the movement of products along it. The supply chain starts and ends with the customer. Why it is said it starts and ends with the customer? Because the customer demand, they want something. So for that, raw material is first collected, then it is transformed into finished good, and then it is delivered to the customers, what the customer had demanded. So it starts from the customer and ends on the customer. So we can see the several parties. Here it is, first is the supplier who is supplying the raw material to the manufacturer. From manufacturer, it is going to the distributor. from distributor to retailer, and from retailer to the end customer. So this is supply chain management. First, you have to plan how things should move, then source from where to get the raw material, then make from the raw material, you make the product. Then from product, it is delivers to the customers. And then it can also be, suppose the product is not satisfactory to the customer finds some fault, whether it is not delivered on time or it is not the exact thing which the customer had ordered, the design, or maybe there's some fault in the product, then it can also, the option should also be there to return it back to the manufacturer. So you have this is a simple supply chain. Plan, source, make, deliver, and return. You plan, source, execute, deliver, return. So this is the supply chain management process. Supply chain management is the coordination and integration of end-to-end business activities, right from the end to end, right from the time you procure the raw material to the time it is delivered to the customers. Procuring materials and services, transforming them into products or services that respond to market demands, and delivering them to customers. The whole thing is the supply chain. Success requires developing a relationship with partners, managing flows of information and materials, and having keen insight into the cash flow and profitability. So you have to first source it, then you have to develop a relationship with all your partners, from the supplier. I suppose you are the manufacturer, then you have to have a very good relation with the supplier, the distributors, the retailer, and how things are moving. That information should also flow along it. Just like with the help of ICT, information and communication technology, today you can track so many things. Suppose you have ordered pizza somewhere, then you can track its movement. So that is also what? From raw material, first the dough they must have bought the flour. From the flour, the dough was made. From the dough, the pizza was baked. Then from pizza, all the toppings, whatever you had ordered, those toppings were put on it, and it was baked, and then it was delivered to your doorstep. So where is your pizza at present? It has given you, so you can track it also. That information is flowing to you. You are the customer, but you are also a part of that supply chain. So over here, the partners, that is the suppliers, the manufacturers, the warehousing, the retailing, everything, it should be interconnected. What is SCM process? That is supply chain management process. Increased competitive pressures, the global environment, sophisticated customers, fast-changing markets, and technological innovations influence organizations to explore their reaction with trading partners for sources of competitive distinction. Because there's so much competition in the market, there's so much pressure. Now, the whole globe is a village. With the advent of information technology, geographical boundary has no meaning. Crossing geographical boundary is the thing today. So you might be sourcing something, some not from your own country, from somewhere else, and getting it over here and then manufacturing it. So all these challenges are forcing the partners to take a very serious view of their role in this whole supply chain management, because this is like a relay race. In a relay race, it is not only one person, It is the total combined effect of all the partners that ends in the good result. The first thing is the strategic planning. For example, strategic planning means you are planning for a long time, maybe for 10 years, 30, 20 years ahead. And then what you want to do. Suppose, like for example, in early 90s, before that, Tata Motors was only producing commercial vehicles. Then they started with SUV, then they went for passenger cars. So that was at that time they had scanned the environment and had seen if there is a demand for good passenger car at an affordable price. The market was asking for it. This they got it from scanning the environment, whether there is opportunity or not. Then you make that decision, that strategic decision. They say maybe in few years they'll be producing passengers car, which is according to the desired level of customer demand. Because at that time there were only very few customer cars, passenger cars. One was your Maruti 800 and another was your Tata. So there was a lot of demand from the people, and they wanted something which was not very expensive and it was world class. So they came with Tata Indica V2. And after that, a lot of improvements were done. But that was the strategic planning. Strategic planning is the art of creating specific business strategies, implementing them, and evaluating the result of executing the plan in regard to a company's overall long-term goals. So strategic planning is long-term goals. It is not short-term, not what you will be doing today or tomorrow or within a week. It is long-term. Like for example, we have this university, Banaras Hindu University. So Madan Mohan Malviya ji was the founder. So he has this strategic plan to start a fully Indian educational system where the Indians could get education in any field they desired, whether it was science, whether it was technology, whether it was medicine, whether it was modern medicine or Ayurvedic medicine or Vedic science knowledge, everything. He thought about that, and that was, you can say that was his strategy. He wanted to build a world-class university which will benefit the maximum number of people of India. It was of Indian origin, which has Indian values in it. When we come to it, we'll see that strategic planning involves the vision, the mission, the values. So what is the vision? What you have thought about it? What you want to do? And then the mission is how to complete that, how to achieve that vision, and under which value system. ये नहीं है कि हमें ये करना है तो कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. For example, today Lalit Modi is considered a billionaire, but how he has acquired that money, nobody is bothered about that because our value system has changed. We are not bothered about how the person gets the money. It is the person should have money and he gets the respect. He or she gets the respect. But most of the big companies, they play a great emphasis, put a great emphasis on the value system. We'll study some of the companies and we'll see what are their values. Strategic planning is the art of creating specific business strategies, implementing them, and evaluating the results of executing the plan in regard to a company's overall long-term goals or desires. It is a concept that focuses on integrating various departments. because you cannot achieve something without integration. It is not a thing which can be done by any one person or any one department. It has to be integrated. Even in a manufacturing unit or any unit, there will be someone who will be looking after the finances, someone will be looking after the HR, someone will be looking after the marketing and things like that. All these together, they interact with each other, and then only they'll be able to get the desired result, such as accounting and finance, marketing and human resources within a company to accomplish its strategic goals. The term strategic planning is essentially synonymous with strategic management. So this is a supply chain, very simple supply chain. Here you have raw material, then it goes to supplier, from supplier to manufacturer, from manufacturer to distributors, from distributor to customers. You can have, like, you can say in distribution, you can have warehouses, you can have retailers and things like that. And then from one customer to the final consumer who actually uses that. That is the difference between customer and consumer. Customer is anyone buying the product. Maybe he will not, like for example, a hotel can be a customer, he buys milk or any food material, but they also convert it into something which is used or consumed by the consumers, the people who are coming to the hotel to eat that food. So it goes finally to the final consumer. A simple supply chain is made of several elements that are linked by the movement of products along it. The supply chain starts and ends with the customer. As I have previously said, it is the demand on the demand of the customer, the whole supply chain moves. What the customer desires, what he needs, he or she needs. So accordingly, things are being produced. Even if they don't need, the need is created, so sometimes through advertisement. But it starts with it. If the customer is not there, there's no point in doing business. The customer starts the chain of events when they decide to purchase a product that has been offered for sale by a company. The customer contacts the sales department of the company, which enters the sales order for a specific quantity to be delivered on a specific date. Sometimes it is not that the customer directly contacts, but the company does a market research and wants to know what exactly the customer wants, what exact features they want in their products, and accordingly they produce things. The customer contacts the sales department of the company, which enters the sales order for a specific quantity to be delivered on a specific date. If the product has to be manufactured, the sales order will include the requirement that needs to be fulfilled by the production facility. Like sometimes you can outsource the manufacturing, and then you can specify, but at least there will be somewhere the manufacturing will be done. Otherwise, the things will not be produced. The transformation from the raw material to the finished good. Then planning. How you are going to plan the whole procedure. The requirement triggered by the customer's sales order will be combined with other orders. The planning department will create a production plan to produce the products to fulfill the customer's orders. Suppose they want this particular design of shirt. Then naturally you have to plan and see from where you will get the raw material, who will be doing the designing, how it will be stitched, as we have said in project management, this is also a project. So you have to decide what are the various associated with it, then how much time each activity will be done, then schedule that sequence, that then only you'll be able to finish the product in time when it has to be delivered. Because see, it is the right time at the right place, right quantity, all these matters. The planning department will create a production plan to produce the products to fulfill the customer's order. To manufacture the product, the company will then have to purchase the raw materials needed. Then purchasing. Naturally, when you have done the planning, then you need the raw material. So you start with raw material, you start with the purchasing. The purchasing departments receive a list of raw materials and services required by the production department to complete the customer's orders. The purchasing department sends purchase orders to selected suppliers to deliver the necessary raw materials to the manufacturing site on the required date. So whenever they require, they have to specify it, by what time they want the raw material, so that whenever it should match with the demand of the customers. They want it on, say, some particular day, and you just order the raw material a few days before that, then you won't be able to finish the work in time, and you won't be able to satisfy your customers. So everything has to be planned properly. Then inventory. The raw materials are received from the suppliers, checked for quality and accuracy, and moved into the warehouse. The supplier will then send an invoice to the company for them for the items they delivered. The raw materials are stored until they are required by the production department. Inventory is at all three levels: the raw material, work in progress, and delivered. Then once the raw material you have acquired the raw material, production has to be taken care of. Production. Based on a production plan, the raw materials are moved inventory to the production area. The finished products ordered by the customer are manufactured using the raw materials purchased from suppliers. After the items have been completed and tested, they are stored back in the warehouse prior to delivery to the customer. So meanwhile, you will have to keep on checking the quality of the raw material, of the finished good, everything. So because a customer wants the product at the right time, right quantity, cost, best, least cost, and best quality. That is the desire of the customer. And the production unit partners in the supply chain have to adhere to it. They have to see to it, and there's so much of competition. So they have to look at several things to make the product of the right quality and the right cost, and has to be delivered at the right time when the customer wants, at the right place where it wants. Transportation, so how it is done? The transportation is required. When the finished product arrives in the warehouse, the shipping department determines the most efficient method to ship the product so that they are delivered on or before the date specified by the customer. When the goods are received by the customer, the company will send an invoice for the delivered products. So naturally, the transportation, suppose transportation does not do the planning properly, and it is not delivering the product within the specified period, then all the efforts of the production department, of the purchasing department is lost. So see, everything, it is, as I've told you again and again, it is a relay race. So every partner in that chain has to give its best, and there has to be a coordination among the partners. The information, they should keep on sharing the information. They should exactly know what the other partners is doing and where it has reached. So it is ready to start the new step, the next step, you can say. So you can say that there are three things. Strategic planning, which is the long-term planning. Then tactical planning, which is for a particular department, functional areas. And then day-to-day planning, operational planning. Like for example, as I was talking about producing a car. So strategic planning was that they wanted to deliver good, comfortable, world-class passenger car at an affordable price. So that was the strategic planning. Then the tactical planning is what the various functional department of the company will do. The manufacturing or the operations, then finance, then marketing, HR, all these they'll coordinate it with each other, and produce this. And the operational planning is what every day, suppose it is being produced, how many chassis has to be produced one day, how many finished goods have to be produced one day, all these things, the day-to-day operations. Strategic planning, it is a long-term planning, 3 to 10 years. Increase revenue by, maybe your goal is to increase revenue by 10%. So how will you increase it? Maybe from today, after 3 years or 4 years or 5 years or 10 years, you increase the revenue by 10% or 20% or 30%, whatever is your planning. Then you have to see how the supply chain has to be configured, what each partner has to do. Whether you want to, there are two things. One is either it can be a vertical integration or a horizontal integration. Either you purchase everything yourself, the raw material to the production to the delivery, everything is together, or it is owned by one person, or you can have alliances with several suppliers, several people, several partners, and together you produce that good or service and deliver it to the consumer. Then you have tactical decision, which is 6 months to 1 year, quarterly or semi-annual forecast, supplier selection, policies to reduce inventory. That is how each functional department, here I'm talking about the production department, but it can be every department. HR, what type of human resources are required to produce that particular good or services. But every good and services will not be produced by the same kind of people. The skills, the educational levels, that has to be different for different things. So how much money will be required? Then the marketing department, where it has to be, where you have to focus it, because if it is not being sold, then you will not get any return on your investment. And further, expanding the business is not possible. If you are not getting the return on the investment, what is the point of doing business? Then it is operational, it is daily or weekly. Customer order taking, weekly forecast, parking list, packing list issuance, all these things. It can be, if it is you are manufacturing some product, how much should be produced every day, what the workers have to do, all these things. So that is operational planning. So you can say strategic planning is highly strategic, few broad long-term decision. Here it is more detailed, specific, short-term decisions. Strategies of supply chain management to ensure that the supply chain is operating as efficient as possible and generating the highest level of customer satisfaction at the lowest cost. Companies had adopted supply chain management process and associated technologies. Because without the technology, you will not be able to achieve it. You can plan, but these technology, the latest development in the technology helps you in achieving that your objective. The supply chain management has 3 levels of activities that different parts of the company will focus on. As we have already discussed, strategic, tactical, and operational. Anka, hello, open, all of you, open your camera.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
You're
Ma'am,
talking
I
to
was on
all
traveling.
over.
I have already sent out a message.
आप लोग की तरफ से तो कोई रिस्पॉन्स ही
Ma'am,
नहीं आ
I'm
रहा है.
traveling as well. I cannot just open my camera at the moment.
In a supply chain or for anywhere or in any operation. Here the operation is right from the time you're getting the raw material to it is being delivered to the customer. And also if the customer is not satisfied, they have the option of returning it also. So you have 3 things. Just tell me, Divang, what are the 3 planning stages?
Strategic, operational.
I can't hear you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
That
Now I can hear you.
Strategic, operational, and tactical.
Strategic, tactical, and operation.
Strategic, tactical, and operation.
What do you understand by it, Anka Rao? Anka?
Yeah. So how the tactical decisions need to be taken? Management is like from the raw material to how we would be processing in the industry. How we need to take the decisions on our own. So it depends upon the supply chain, or depends upon how much demand we have.
Tithi Patel? Are you cannot open your.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any problem?
No, ma'am. I'm just traveling. That's why I cannot open my camera.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
So at this level, company, strategic level, at this level, company management will be looking to high level strategic decisions concerning the whole organization. See, strategic means the whole organization is involved. Where the organization will go. When I told you about any founder of any, whether it is of a service sector or a production sector, whatever it is, the whole organization, how it will move, what it will produce, what it will be giving to the society. At this level, company management will be looking to high-level strategic decisions concerning the whole organization, such as the size and location of manufacturing sites, partnerships with suppliers, products to be manufactured, and sales markets. All these things, everything is involved. How it will be moving, the whole thing, how it will be moving. Suppose, as I talked about Tata Motors. So there was what? What they'll be producing, what type of car, from where will they get the design, how much money will be required, what will be the demand, what will be the size of the market, so how many number of cars they'll be producing. So because see, if anything which is unsold, that is also a loss, actual loss, if it is not sold. And if you have missed an opportunity, it is an opportunity loss. So anyway, you have to do away with these losses. It is not always that 100% it will be, but as far as I minimize these losses, whether it is actual loss or the opportunity loss. The total planning, that is strategic planning. Strategic network optimization, including the number of location, like for example, Tata Motors, initially so it was only producing at Jamshedpur, then it started at Pune. Now they have so many other plants also. They have one at Lucknow and things like that. So how will be they? Where all their locations will be? What they'll be manufacturing? From where to get the raw material? From where to get the design? For designing the manpower required to produce that particular car, or it can be anything. For producing any product, you need the right material, you need the right people, you need the finances, and you need the marketing. These are the 4 functional areas: HR, finance, operations, and marketing. So all these things, they have to think about the whole organization and the various functional areas. What will they be doing to produce that particular product or service? Strategic partnerships with suppliers. For suppliers, distributors, it is not one time. Every time you change your suppliers, you change your distributors. So you have to have a long-term partnership, understanding, so that your business runs smoothly. You know exactly whether your suppliers are reliable or not, whether they'll be sending the raw materials or the unfinished product which has to be assembled on time. So all these things, so it has to be a long-term relationship. Strategic partnership with suppliers, distributors, the customers, creating communication channels for critical information and operational movements such as cross-docking, direct shipping, and third-party logistic. Like logistic also, you can, if suppose you have to deliver very few things, you can do it directly. You can, several people can combine together and do the delivery, or it can be you can give the whole thing to a third party which only specializes in logistics and does the delivery. How the product will move, how it is being transformed, that product life cycle management, so that new and existing products can be optimally integrated into supply chain and capacity management activities. Like every product has a life. It is created, it matures, and then it dies. So what is the product life cycle like? If things, because now the demand pattern has changed, the product life cycle has become shortened. It is not that like initially when we were small, suppose the family buys a fridge, refrigerator. It used to be there in the house for several years, maybe 20 to 30 years, till it ran down. Like you never thought of buying a new one. But now with the rising income and the availability of products, so many different type of product of the same particular product is there, so many different features are there, that people keep on changing it. Then you have to manage these things. If so, what next they'll be, and what to do with this used product? How, where, if there is a market for that also or not? And there is a market. But even what to do with the waste? Suppose it dies, that means nobody is using it. Then what to do with that? So this whole cycle has to be managed. Because of that, the wastage is becoming a problem that we have not planned it properly. Like for example, if you look at nature, nature has planned the thing in a cyclic manner. Like for example, you as in school you must have read about hydrogen cycle, you must have read about water cycle, the same water. It is evaporates, goes up, becomes the cloud, and then again comes down. You take up nitrogen cycle. It is moving in a cyclic manner. The waste of one becomes the output of one, becomes the input of another. But the man-made system, that efficiency is not there because our planning has not been at that level. What will happen to the waste? Whether that, because people are now thinking on this line, a number of innovations are taking place, how to use this, the things which have been wasted by one production unit, where to use that, how to dispose of those waste. You can reuse it, you can do several things. So that it has to be in a cyclic manner so that the wastage is minimum. Information technology infrastructure to support supply chain operations. So that information, how it will move from one partner to another or among the partners also. Where to make and what to make or buy decision. Whether you want to make the product or buy it from somewhere and then sell it to someone. That decision has to be taken at the strategic level. It is not a short-term decision. It will be a long-term decision. If you want to make it, then you have to have a full production unit. Whether you want to buy it, then you have to assemble it. Sometimes you buy the semi-good things and assemble it and then sell it. So these are strategic decisions. It concerns the whole organization and it is a long-term decision. Aligning overall organizational strategy with supply strategy. So what is the strategy of the organization? So your supply strategy should be on the same line. If it wants to, like I was talking about Indica, if it wants to supply the strategy, organizational strategy that it wants to be a #1 car manufacturer in India. So the supply should be such that it is the things are being supplied to the desired customers at the right time, at the right cost, at the right quality. Then only it will become a #1. If they are not satisfied and there is a lot of competition, how will they counteract the competitions? So you have to study, like you do SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. S, strength, W, weakness, opportunities, and threat. So these two things you have to see within yourself. Like for example, I was talking about Indica or Tata Motors. So they have to see whether they had, at that time, whether they had the strength, the knowledge, the finance to produce such a car, what they had in their mind. And what was their weakness? If they had certain weaknesses, maybe they did not have the designer to design such a car, whether they can outsource it. Because initially they had outsourced it from Italians. So that was their weakness. So you have to see. Suppose, for example, you take yourself also. Suppose you want to study something. You want to do engineering. So you have to see whether you are good in mathematics. That is one of the basic quality required to study engineering. If you don't have, you have to see whether you are good in, say, creativity. So you can go for fine arts, can go for other subjects where your creativity will be used. So that is your strength. What is your weaknesses? What are your weaknesses? So you leave that. So you have to see first, analyze what are your strengths and weaknesses. Then what is the opportunities and the threats in the environment. And then you have to match these two. if there is a huge demand for engineers or not. For example, today, there are so many engineering graduates who are not getting jobs because there is no demand in the market for that. And that is why number of engineering colleges opened by private sector has closed. Demand is not that because the economy is not doing well. Economy is not doing well and jobs are not being created. So in that case, you look for something else because that threat is there in the environment. That what are the opportunities is the demand, whereas the threat can be through your competitors also. So you have to see my product or my service should be better than how can I differentiate my product or service from my competitors so that people will be buying my product more than them. This is a game. Everyone is playing strategy. Sometimes one party is winning, another time another party is winning. Sometimes some party finishes also. For example, what happens to Big Bazaar? It had started with bang, but it made some mistakes in the strategic planning. They had not thought about the whole thing properly, and that is why it has finished today. Because they were investing, but were not looking at the returns properly. I kept on investing, and then they landed in loss. So you have to keep on thinking and evaluating and planning before the disaster comes. Information technology infrastructure to support supply chain operations. So because see, as I told you, it is a relay race. Everybody has to coordinate with each other to achieve the objective. So the information, like for example, today, because of this pandemic, offline classes were now though it is possible in most of the colleges and schools, but when it was not possible, online classes started. For that, you needed the infrastructure. You needed the network. You needed a platform, whether it is through Zoom meeting or web meeting, WebEx. There are so many. The opportunities were there. That is why so many different types of conferencing media came into, whether it is Google Meet, whether it is WebEx, whether it is Zoom, so there are several things. So these the infrastructure support has to be there so that the information is shared by every partner of the supply chain. So this is the long term, taking the whole organization into consideration. So that is the strategic decisions. Then you have tactical decisions. When you have decided, you are going to manufacture this car. So first thing is to get the design done. Then see that you have enough finances to manufacture the car. You have the right human resource to manufacture the car. You have proper marketing department to market your product, to focus your product in the market, that the people buy that. From where will you get? So these are the tactical decisions. It is for a functional, it is short term. It does not involve the whole organization. It involves only a functional area. It is not that there is no coordination among them. It is not that the functional areas are watertight compartment. Like in a human body also, we have so many organs. They are not watertight organs. They are separated by a semi-permeable membrane. So the information flows from other. Something goes wrong with your heart, then immediately that message goes to your brain. You have the feeling, you get the feeling. Then you go to the doctor, he or she makes you undergo so many tests and finds out what is wrong with you. So for you, any organization or any living organism, there are several parts which are working together to achieve the objective. Tactical decision focus on adopting measures that will produce cost benefits, such as using industry best practices, developing a purchasing strategy with favored suppliers, working with logistic companies to develop cost-effective transportation, and developing warehouse strategies to reduce the cost of storing inventory. So these are, once you have decided to manufacture that, so how will you develop that? What will be the design of that particular product? Who will be designing it? How where will you be storing the finished good? Who will deliver the goods to the final customers? All these things. So from strategic planning, you have come to tactical planning. From tactical planning, then what has to be done daily or on a weekly basis? That planning, that is operational planning. Sourcing contracts and other purchasing decision. So that is the purchasing department. That is the job of the purchasing department. The strategy was to produce the car or to produce any product or any service. So from where to get the raw material? Who will be reliable suppliers? Production decision, who will be producing, where it will be produced, whether you want to produce it or you want to buy and then resell it, whatever is your policy decision. The policy decision has to be strategic, but how it will be done will be tactical. Production decision including contracting, scheduling and planning process definitions. All these things, inventory decisions, including quantity, location and quality of inventory. How much inventory you want. There are so many mathematical models also which you can use, and with computerization, finding the answer is not difficult these days. You just have to have the data, just feed in the data, because these are what very structured sort of a decision, and it will give you the answer what should be the optimum quantity, because you have to feed in what will be the price, what will be the ordering cost, what will be the setup cost, what will be the upkeeping cost, because inventory also you have to keep it properly. And for that also some cost is required. All these things, and from there you get the total, and you have to minimize this total cost. You have to minimize it. And then what should be the optimum inventory that organization should keep. Then transportation strategy, including frequency, routes, and contracting. As I told you, you can do the transportation yourself, or you can ask a third party to do the transportation for you, delivering of your goods. Benchmarking of all operations against competitors and implementation of best practices throughout the enterprise. You have to see how your competitors are doing. Take the best practice, study. So it is a very dynamic environment. It is not static. Once you have to be alert all the time and see to it how things are moving in the environment. And accordingly, you have to keep on changing yourself, adapting yourself. Then milestone payments. For every milestone you have covered, whether you have received the payments or not. Focus on customer demand. So all these are tactical decisions. This is not the whole organization, is not. The particular department or functional area is involved in it. Then comes your operational decisions. Operational decisions at this level are made each day in business that affect how the product move along the supply chain. Operational decisions involve making schedule changes to production, purchasing agreement with suppliers, taking orders from customers, and moving products in the warehouse. Daily production and distribution planning, how much, what parts to manufacture now. Like you, as I told you, you can have two types of layout. One is your production product layout, another can be your process layout. In process layout, you can have different departments doing that process. And finally, after everything is processed, it is assembled at one place. So you can see how much each day or each week, how many parts have to be produced. Or you can have a product layout where along the assembly line, things are being added to the, and it is being manufactured, like in vehicle. So you have to see how much work has to be done each day. So this is every day, every week, or you can have weekly also. So it is a short term, day-to-day operations. That has to be taken care of. Production. See, it is not that scheduling, planning is every day. For what level? That is the important thing. Production scheduling for each manufacturing facility in the supply chain, minute by minute. Demand planning and forecasting, coordinating the demand forecast of all customers and sharing the forecast with all suppliers. So you know the demand is for say 100 units. So for that 100 units, what all raw materials do you want? So from where to get that raw materials? So this you have to share this information with your suppliers and order the things in time so that it is delivered to you in time, so that you are able to manufacture and deliver it to your ultimate customers on time. Sourcing, planning, including current inventory and forecast demand in collaboration with all suppliers. Because one is the supplier of the other. Like you are getting the supply from the raw material, you are manufacturing it, you are supplying it to the warehouse where it is being stored. From warehouse, it is going to retail, and then on, so on. Then there are two things, inbound operations and outbound. How things are moving into the manufacturing unit and how things are moving out of the manufacturing unit. Inbound operations including transportation from suppliers and receiving inventory. Production operation including the consumption of materials and flow of finished goods. Outbound operations include all fulfillment activities, warehousing and transportation to customers. So it is coming here, being manufactured, and then going out to the customers. Order promising, accounting for all constraints in the supply chain, including all suppliers, manufacturing facilities, distribution centers, and other customers. So all the players, every day, what they have to do on a week, on a short-term basis, what they have to do to achieve the objective of the organization. So the technology plays a very important role in this. Our organizations increasingly find that they must rely on effective supply chains or networks to successfully compete in the global market. And network economy, like Peter Drucker, who is a very well-known management guru, especially of strategic management. New management paradigms, this concept of business relationships extends beyond traditional enterprise boundaries and seeks to organize entire business processes throughout the value chain of multiple companies. See, today, this has become a part and parcel of almost all the companies, but it was in way back in 1998. So it is about 24 years back. At that time, we were not thinking in an organized manner. So things were moving haphazardly. But when people started realizing the competition increased, the demand pattern changed. So these people were forced to think on these lines. New theories were given by management gurus, how to deal with all the partners in the supply chain management and get the work done in the most efficient and effective way. In a company expects to achieve benefits from the supply chain management process, they will require some level of investment in, naturally, as I told you, like for example, when online classes started, so we had to invest in technology. We had to get this technology to get in contact with the students. The students had to invest in technology to get in contact with the teachers. So technology plays a very, like we have enterprise resource planning, which is nothing but the integration of all the functional areas of any organization. So anything which enters the system is being shared by everyone who will be needing it automatically. Sharing was always there, but it was not very smooth. But now with the advent of enterprise resource planning, the whole organization works as a one organism. Just like we take food, there is only one intent. It is not that for hand you need food from other place, and for leg you need another mouth. It is not that. From one mouth it is entering, but it is affecting your whole body. So over there also, enterprise resource planning is something, information or data is gathered at one end, and anyone in the organization who needs it is being shared automatically. What the manufacturing department needs, it is being sent to the manufacturing, where whatever human resource requires, it is sent. So totality, it is, and the product, which is the output, is also coming from one place. So it is now just like any living organism is working in an integrated manner. All our functional things in our body are working in an integrated manner for our well-being. That we are working properly, we are, health is proper. So even in a any manufacturing unit or a service unit, every functional area has to be integrated together so that whatever is the objective of the organization is being fulfilled. For example, Amazon has changed the face of retail through its use of bold supply chain strategies and the deployment of innovative technology. Like, for example, today you order something on Amazon, it is delivered to you in no time, because they are managing their warehouses and the supply chain strategy in such a way that there are so many different types of products. There are so many different locations, but each is being taken care of. And in this, achieving this, the technology helps them. They have code, so that in their warehouse, they immediately know where that particular product is placed. They have different type of ways of reaching that place. And they using all this technology helps in achieving their goal of delivering the products to the customers within the time limit in which it has been promised. The online retailer's history is one of rapid growth and relentless innovation. It's reshaping the supply chain and leaving competitors scrambling to catch up. Why did Flipkart had to finally sell its company to Walmart? Because it was finding difficult to keep up with the Amazon. There was very tough competition between Flipkart and Amazon. It is a very sad thing that an Indian company was finally taken up by an American company. But anyway, Walmart was also wanting to enter India, and they were finding it difficult to compete with Amazon. So finally, in 2018, it was sold off to almost like 77% was sold off to Walmart. There are other stakeholders also, but it was sold off to Walmart. Even though the name is there, but now the Bansals are no more the owners. They had started the company, but they are not the owners now. They sold it off to Walmart, and Walmart is taking care of everything. Because they have the financial resources, but the technological resources to keep up with the Amazon. The fight is there. The competition is there. We now know that it is known. We know that with the wide adoption of internet technologies, all businesses can take advantage of web-based software and internet communications. Instant communication between vendors and customers allows for timely updates of information, which is the key in management of supply chain. Because see, with internet or with the computerization of information, the speed and the capacity, these two things have benefited a lot. You can handle a lot of data, which is impossible to handle manually. And every day, this is increasing. Plus the speed with which it is being handled. In no time, suppose somebody in your house is living somewhere across the globe, you can talk to that person. You don't feel the distance. You can see the person. You can talk to them. Maybe sometimes, because of the internet technology, somebody who's living across the globe is closer to you than your own person who's living next door to you. Because it is the communication which brings you closer to you, the integration. Communication brings the integration. So over here, integration is very necessary because all the partners are working towards the same goal. And you cannot achieve this goal if there is no integration among the partners. So here, that was a very simple supply chain. Today, actually, it is not a chain. It is a network. You can have more than one supplier. Your supplier cannot be only exclusively for you. They might be supplying to some other organizations also. You'll be supplying to so many. So here you have suppliers. So see, it is a network. Suppliers, manufacturers, distribution center, demand markets. So this is how they are interconnected. So this is a network. Now we use this word because it is supply chain management. Actually, it is a supply chain network. The complexity is increasing day by day. It is a supply chain network. The following activities are the backbone of supply chain management. This leads to the fulfillment of the organization. As I told you, integrated behavior. Mutually sharing channel risk and rewards. Because if they can make the goods and deliver it on time, this reward is shared by everyone in the supply chain. Similarly, if there is some risk, it is shared by everyone in the, then there has to be cooperation among the partners. The partners should have the same goal and the same focus of serving customers. It is not that only one has to, only the manufacturer has to see to it, or the supplier of raw material has to. No, it is everyone in that particular chain has to see to it that they have the same goal and the same focus. Partners to build and maintain long-term relationship, and it is not a one-day affair. It has to be a long-term relationship. So these 7 things has to be considered very seriously if you want an effective supply chain management. Integrated behavior, mutually sharing information, mutually sharing channel risk and rewards, cooperation. The partner should have the same goal and the same focus of serving our customers, integration of process, partners to build and maintain long-term relationship. First is your, as I told you, is integrated behavior. To be fully effective in today's competitive environment, firms must expand their integrated behavior to incorporate customers and suppliers. Maybe you are a manufacturer, but you have to integrate with suppliers, customers, even the distributors, everyone, and then all together have to work together to achieve the objective. The extension of an integrated behavior through external integration is supply chain management. In this context, the philosophy of supply chain turns into the implementation of supply chain management, a set of activities that carries out this philosophy. So I think it is, so integration is the first step you have to think about when you are talking about supply chain. I'm not talking about supply chain, only a simple supply chain, but also the more it is complex, the more you have to have very up-to-date information system for the integration. Then mutually sharing information. Everybody should know what the other is doing, where they have achieved, because when one stops, the other starts. So this is how the scheduling has to be done, how sequencing has to be done. So these things together, they will, by mutually sharing the information, they will be able to achieve the final objective of the supply chain. Then mutually sharing risk and awards. Whatever is the risk, it is not the risk of only one, not the problem of only one partner. It is the problem of every. They should know that in this they are together. They sink together, they swim together. If they help each other, they swim together. If they don't share them, all of them will be affected by it. Everybody will incur losses. So their losses and their gains are the same. They should know that they are an integrated whole body. They are not part. They are not individuals. They are integrated parts which are working together to achieve something. And for this, cooperation is very necessary. If somebody is saying to do this and the other says, no, I'm not going to. The functional relationship. Functional relationship means that they are cooperating with each other. Suppose the customer demands something, some feature. For that, some particular type of raw material is required. The supplier is not ready to supply it. So naturally, everybody will wait. The customer will not buy. Everybody will incur losses. So cooperation among the partners is very necessary. Naturally, cooperation starts with joint planning and ends with joint control activities to evaluate performance of the supply chain members as well as the supply chain as a whole. So cooperation in each stage, when you're planning, when you're scheduling, when you're sequencing, the cooperation has to be among all the members of the supply chain. The same goal and the same focus on serving the customer. So everybody, as it is said, customer is the king or queen. So it is they should all know that they are going to serve the customers, and the satisfaction of the customer will will enhance their return on their investment, their whatever efforts, whether it is monetary efforts or some other type, whatever it is, they'll get the return only if the customer is happy. So their focus is on the customer, what the customer wants, what features they want, at what price they want, at what place they want, what quality they want. So it's not that the goal and the focus of each partner is different. They are in it total for all of them. It is the same goal and the same focus has to be there. If one is working very hard, one partner is working, other is not. Like for example, like when we were small, there used to be a relay race when one partner used to swim across a swimming pool with a thread, and they used to give it to the lady waiting, and she had to put it inside the needle. Now what was it? Suppose you have swum very fast, but your partner, while putting the thread in the needle, has taken a lot of time. So naturally you lose the game. Somebody has the partner who is putting the thread in the needle is doing it very fast, but the person who is swimming across the swimming pool has taken a lot of time. Then also you will fail. So both the partners, the one who's swimming and the one who's putting the thread in the needle, both have to be efficient. Then only they'll win the way. It is not the effort of only one. In both, they have to focus it. The thread they should be the first one to put the thread inside the needle. That should be the goal. And for that, cooperation, integration, sharing of knowledge, all these are very important. Then the process. The processes that is there in the supply chain, that has also to be integrated. The implementation of SCM needs the integration of process from sourcing to manufacturing and to distribution across the supply chain. Interaction can be accomplished through cross-functional teams, in-plant, supplier, personnel, and third-party service. Whatever, that is the policy decision at the strategic level, what you want to do. The planning and operating application in the 4 stages of supply chain integration is discussed below. Stage 1 represents the baseline. As I told you, it is an operation of fragmented. The whole thing is fragmented, but it is interlinked. Each fragment has to be integrate with other fragment. So the baseline, from here it is being supplied, then it is being manufactured over here, then it is stored somewhere, then it is delivered somewhere. So these are the factors. Then how to integrate these processes? That is the second stage. That is the baseline. How it is going to move. Third stage reaches toward internal corporate integration and characterized by full visibility of purchasing through distribution, medium-term planning, tactical rather than strategic. Because when it is moving, it is at the tactical level. All the functional areas who are involved in manufacturing or producing that particular product have to integrate. So here it is now at the tactical. Strategic was when you were thinking about producing that, the end product. But when it is in the process, it is at the tactical level. And then the operational level, day to day, weekly, monthly, how things what has to be done. At stage 4, achieve supply chain integration by extending the scope of integration outside the company. So internally, when it was being manufactured, the internal integration was required. Integration among all the functional areas of the organization was required. But when after that, it is going outside, it is going to the wholesaler, it is going to the delivery partner. So then integration with those outside the manufacturing unit has to be there. Because here we are main focus in operations, the manufacturing. So here we are talking about the supply chain. It is not that you can focus on anything wherever you are situated. But generally, what over here is happening, we are producing some good or service which is being sold to someone. So where it is being, it is the operation, it is being transformed from the basics to the needed. And from where to get the raw material, then from where, how to deliver it to the end customer. So you know how it, the first the baseline you have to, then how to integrate that, then how to integrate internally where it is being manufactured. There also you have different functional areas. They have to integrate and then they have to produce it. And then once it has been produced, how to integrate with the outside partners from where it is being delivered to the end customer. And finally, we have partners to build and maintain long-term relationship. Because see, this is an ongoing process. So you cannot have changing partners. ठीक है, ऐसा भी नहीं है कि फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी इतने रिजिड भी नहीं है, बट जहां तक हो सके you have to have a long-term relationship with all your partners so that the things move smoothly. They know यदि एक किसी का कुछ प्रॉब्लम हुआ तो others should know, then they should fix it and move to the second stage. All the rewards and risks have to be shared. मान लीजिए किसी कारणवश सप्लायर नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो दैट इंफॉर्मेशन हैज टू बी गिवन टू, तो मैन्युफैक्चरर का कुछ अल्टरनेटिव हो सकता है. दे हैव टू कीप अ अल्टरनेटिव. जैसे हम लोग करते हैं लाइफ में भी, यू हैव वन प्लान ए, सपोज समथिंग गोज रॉन्ग विद प्लान, तो यू हैव टू हैव अ अल्टरनेटिव प्लान. ये नहीं हो सका तो दूसरा होगा, बट दैट रिस्क हैज टू बी शेयर्ड. यदि पता ही नहीं है तो फिर क्या, what will the manufacturer do? If it comes to know at the end time it is not being delivered, so naturally the whole supply chain will be affected. क्योंकि वो जो डिलीवरी है वो कहाँ से होगा, जब सामान ही नहीं बना तो होगा कहाँ से. तो the integration, the cooperation, the flow of information, the sharing of risk and goals, यदि कुछ अच्छा होता है and your supply chain is doing very well, so naturally it will be a win-win situation for all the partners, financially as well as the satisfaction of fulfilling the needs of the customers on time. केवल प्रॉफिट ही नहीं है सब चीज, that goodwill, because goodwill keeps your business going. goodwill नहीं क्रिएट हुआ तो फिर बिजनेस नहीं चलेगा, ज्यादा दिन नहीं चलेगा. You have to have a very cohesive partners to work together to fulfill this, whatever you are supplying, whether it is goods or service. So what are the future challenges? What's the future holds for supply chain management? The future of supply chain management is the future of the business management, when there will be no business that is not part of a supply. Actually, you cannot have a business without supply chain. ऐसा तो नहीं होगा ना कि आप अपने ही पास से रॉ मटेरियल भी ले आए, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग भी किए, डिलीवरी भी किए, ऐसा नहीं होगा. There has to have several fragments which have to be integrated. तो ये हर एक बिजनेस में है, ऐसा नहीं है. अब ठीक है, अब वो जमाना तो नहीं रहेगा धीरे धीरे कि हाँ एक ठेले में वो कुछ फल लेके बैठ गया, मगर उसको भी तो कहीं से रॉ मटेरियल लाना पड़ेगा. वो फल वाला ठेला भी, he is a one man business. He's looking after the finance, he's looking after the marketing, he's looking after the HR भी वही है, सब कुछ है, but still he also needs supplies. He buys it from somewhere. अब ये तो नहीं कि the person who's growing the fruits or vegetables is only selling. फिर वो उनका focus भी divided हो जाएगा. If their focus is on growing the fruits and vegetables, the supplier, the other one, the focus is on selling it to the customers. So, but for the benefit of everyone, they should cooperate with each other, so that everyone, whether he or she is a customer or a retailer or a manufacturer or the supplier of a material, everybody is benefiting. तभी तो वो supply chain is meaningful. Otherwise, what's the point of putting so much effort in it? कि middleman तो बहुत पैसा, अभी कैसा होता है, farmers नहीं के पास पैसा पहुंचता नहीं. Farmers are the ones who are putting the most effort, but they are not getting the return because बीच में the middlemen खा जा रहे हैं. So they are part of the, they should understand कि, and that is why once long time back I had seen a movie. It was a Japanese movie in which the same thing, the situation was same just like in India. So magar over things improved. Even the farmers started benefiting from the growth. So it is not, it is everywhere, in every business, whether you are talking about household goods or you're talking about engineering goods or whatever it is, the supply chain management, the focus should be in all the partners of that chain. And there has to be cooperation among them. Then only the future of supply chain is bright. And that is the, after all, paying so much of effort. If all the partners are not satisfied, the objective is not fulfilled. So, a consumer-centric supply chain, because finally the consumer has to be satisfied. तो जो भी काम कर रहे हैं आप कंज्यूमर को ध्यान में रखते हुए करें. Whether you are a manufacturer, whether you are a supplier of raw material, whether you are a storage, warehousing, a delivery partner, everybody should have the consumer as their focus. So managing the supply chain in a much better way, much more smoothly. और इसके लिए we have to keep those 7 features in mind with lot of dynamism. Static नहीं होना चाहिए. Things will be changing. Environment में change होगा. Technology में change होगा. So what will be best for your supply chain? That you have to keep in focus. Technology को रखना होगा. Environment में क्या threats आ गए, नए threats आ गए, कुछ कारणवश रॉ मटेरियल नहीं मिले तो क्या अल्टरनेटिव हो सकता है, क्या सब्स्टिट्यूट हो सकता है. तो इट इज अ डायनामिक थिंग. The first challenge that the supply chain manager are facing is to transform the supply chain from supplier centric to customer centric. Traditionally, supply chains have been deployed from factory outwards so that the company's business model may be continued with major change. The management emphasis was on how to ensure the production process could be most efficiently run and products could be cost most effectively, the cost distribution. The marketing is to find the customer that fits to the product rather than make the products that fit to the market. तो कस्टमर सेंट्रिक जब हो जाएगा, ये नहीं कि हम जो सेलर्स मार्केट नहीं है, अब सेलर्स मार्केट नहीं है, तो बायर्स मार्केट हो गया, जो बायर्स को चाहिए. ये नहीं कि हमने बना दिया उन पर थोप दिया, क्योंकि इतना ज्यादा कंपटीशन है, आप नहीं करेंगे कोई और आ जाएगा. अभी तो ऑनलाइन क्या है, it is your competitor is just a click away. है कि नहीं? आप क्लिक करके देख रहे हैं, आपको कोई ड्रेस सेलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, आपको नहीं पसंद आ रहा तो आप दूसरे साइट पर चले जा रहे हैं, इतने सारे ऑप्शंस हैं। तो इसलिए कस्टमर सेंट्रिक होना अब बहुत जरूरी हो गया है। इट इज रिटन फ्यूचर, बट अब तो ये हो गया है। In today's highly competitive global marketplace, the market favors whichever the supply chain that satisfies them best. So competition ज़्यादा है. The strategic aim of the supply chain must be on the higher level of customer responsiveness. As I said कि customer centric है ना, तो customer का क्या response आ रहा है, उस पर ज़्यादा depend करना है. Agility more than the cost becomes the key driver. कितनी जल्दी आप अपने आप को फ्लेक्सिबल है, एजाइल है, चेंज कर सकते हैं. कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है बिकॉज द कस्टमर इज विलिंग टू पे समथिंग एक्स्ट्रा इफ ही और शी गेट्स व्हाट दे डिजायर. उसके लिए आपको कुछ चेंजेस भी करना है तो आपको करना पड़ेगा. The supply chain must be designed to get the customer on the driving seat. तो customer is the driver now. अब वो किधर ले जाएगा आपको? तो यू हैव टू बी फोकस्ड ऑन द कस्टमर. ऑल द पार्टनर्स का फोकस कस्टमर पर होना चाहिए. उनको क्या चाहिए? कोऑर्डिनेशन ऑफ operational integration of the supply chain members must be significantly strengthened to counterbalance the increased volatility of market behavior. क्योंकि मार्केट में इतना वोलेटिलिटी है, इतने चेंजेस हो जाते हैं, तो ऑल द partners are not integrated together strongly. They will not be able to adhere to these changes. The customer centricity idea represents a renewed paradigm that will have profound implications through every aspect of supply chain management. Research shows that close connectivity to customer will significantly improve supply chain effectiveness and market performance. तो आप क्योंकि काम किसके लिए हो रहा है? कस्टमर के लिए हो रहा है. If you are not sensitive towards customer, तो आपको जो रिस्पॉन्स, जो एक रिलेशनशिप कस्टमर से नहीं बन सकता है. It is said कि finding a new customer every time is five times more expensive. So to have this relationship, you'll have a steady customer. They'll be satisfied with your work and they'll be keep on coming to you. अब ऐसा नहीं है कि this being everybody, जैसे कहा ना कि everyone has the same focus and the same goal. तो यह कस्टमर के ऊपर फोकस ही होना चाहिए सभी पार्टनर्स का. तो ट्रेडिशनल तो ये था सप्लायर्स, मैन्युफैक्चरर, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, कस्टमर, रॉ मटेरियल, इस तरह से घूम रहा था. पर अब ये है कस्टमर इज एट द सेंटर, सप्लायर्स, रॉ मटेरियल, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स, तो ये सभी आर फोकस टुवर्ड द कस्टमर. कस्टमर को क्या चाहिए, कैसा चाहिए, तो इसके लिए these they have to be integrated, they have to be focused what the customer wants. उसके लिए कैसा रॉ मटेरियल चाहिए, उसके लिए कहाँ से आएगा सप्लायर्स, कौन से सप्लायर्स अच्छे रहेंगे, कहाँ पर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, कैसे क्या प्रोसेस यूज किया जाए तो बेस्ट प्रोडक्ट प्रोड्यूस हो सके या बेस्ट सर्विस दिया जा सके, हाउ इट हैज टू बी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सो दैट द कस्टमर गेट्स द राइट प्रोडक्ट एट द राइट प्राइस एट द राइट प्लेस. तो कस्टमर हैज द, ये अब यहाँ पहुंच गया है सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट. जैसे बहुत सारे कंसल्टिंग फर्म्स आ गए हैं who are helping to achieve this. तो इसके लिए दे यूज द 7S मॉडल, जिसमें कुछ हार्ड है एलिमेंट्स, कुछ सॉफ्ट वंस है. तो हार्ड में क्या है? स्ट्रेटजी स्टेटमेंट्स, organization charts and reporting lines, and formal processes and IT systems. The soft elements, on the other hand, can be more difficult to describe and are less tangible. These are tangible. क्या होगा आपका स्ट्रैटेजी, कैसे आप करेंगे, आपका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन चार्ट क्या होगा, who will be the head, who will be working on, कौन किसको रिपोर्ट करना है, अब क्या फॉर्मल प्रोसेस होगा, क्या आईटी सिस्टम यूज करेंगे. तो दीज आर द टैंजिबल एंड सॉफ्ट वंस आर मोर डिफिकल्ट टू डिफाइन. Okay, they are also, like for example, you like soft skills, how you should talk, how should you interact with your peers, how you should interact with your seniors, juniors, things like that. How to speak, how to behave in public, what will your body language. तो ये कहने को तो ऐसे सुनने में बहुत आसान लगता है, but it's not all that easy. डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते हैं. हो सकता है कभी कभी ऐसा होता है सॉफ्ट स्किल्स में ये होता है कि किसी चीज किसी को पसंद आ जाए, किसी को नहीं आए, तो यहाँ भी प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकते हैं. बट स्टिल कीपिंग दोज प्रॉब्लम्स इन माइंड, यू हैव टू डेवलप दिस सॉफ्ट स्किल्स सो दैट द कल्चर is applicable to all the supply chain partners. क्या स्ट्रक्चर होगा, क्या सिस्टम्स होंगे, क्या स्ट्रैटेजी, ये तो हार्ड हो गया. क्या स्किल्स, क्या स्टाफ, क्या स्टाइल, ये सब एक ही शेयर्ड वैल्यू वही शेयर करेंगे. So you can see this is an integration of all these things, 7 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Shared values is at the center. So main so as I told you that this is a dynamic system. Everything is changing. The external environment is changing, the technology is changing. So you have to keep these in mind. Keep on incorporating the changes, getting tuned to the changes, being more agile, more flexible. So changes can be incorporated so that finally the customer is more satisfied with your product or service. ये सारे आपके डायनामिक्स हैं. As I told you, planning जो पहला है, प्लानिंग से ही हम लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं ना. कोई चीज करना है तो पहले तो प्लान करना पड़ेगा. And we have said कि planning में your strategic planning, you have your tactical planning, you have operational planning. Planning is the part of management concerned with creating procedures, rules and guidelines for achieving a stated objective. क्या आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव है? मान लीजिए आप शर्ट सप्लाई कर रहे हैं, तो आपका ये ऑब्जेक्टिव है, तो उसको कैसे करेंगे, कहाँ से आप रॉ मटेरियल लेंगे, कहाँ से डिजाइन लेंगे, आप ये देखेंगे कि लोगों को क्या पसंद है, वही चीज बनाएंगे. क्या कलर पसंद है, क्या डिजाइन पसंद है. स्पेशली इन क्लोथिंग तो डिजाइन बहुत चेंज हो जाते हैं. अब प्लानिंग एज एट बोथ मैक्रो एंड माइक्रो लेवल. ओवरऑल जो स्ट्रैटेजिक प्लानिंग है वो मैक्रो लेवल पर है ओवरऑल, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का। माइक्रो लेवल पर है आपका ऑपरेशनल प्लानिंग, टैक्टिकल प्लानिंग। Managers need to create broad objectives and mission statement as well as look after the day-to-day running of the company. तो मैक्रो पर भी किए और माइक्रो पर भी किए। ओवरऑल क्या होगा और कैसे करेंगे, ये दोनों आपको देखना है। देखिए ये ऐसे जर्नी में, तो इसके लिए आपको एक विजन होना चाहिए कि क्या करना है। लीड्स टू विजन जब तक नहीं होगा, जैसे हमने कहा ना कि मालवीय जी का विजन था कि वो एक वर्ल्ड क्लास यूनिवर्सिटी बनाएंगे, तो उनका विजन था। तो उसके करने के लिए उन्होंने बहुत, ही वेंट थ्रूआउट इंडिया टू कलेक्ट फंड्स एंड ही फाइनली एस्टैब्लिश्ड दिस। टाटा का विजन था कि दे स्टार्ट अ पैसेंजर कार। वो कमर्शियल कार्स तो मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहे थे, बट टू स्टार्ट अ पैसेंजर कार, that was their vision, and now they are very much into it. Vision leads to mission. अब उसको कैसे करेंगे? विजन तो आपने देखा, जिसको we say in हिंदी दूरदर्शिता। आपने देखा कि हमको ये करना है, पर उसको कैसे करेंगे? तो that is the mission. उनका विजन था to establish a world class university. How will he do it? His mission was to first to collect money, acquire land, सारे रॉ मटेरियल कहाँ, फैकल्टीज कहाँ से आएंगे, सारा कुछ अपना कैंपस का उन्होंने डेवलप किया, which enables to create the strategies. कैसे करेंगे? वो मिशन ये था, वो कैंपस बनाना किस तरह से बनाएंगे, तो स्ट्रैटेजीज क्या क्या एम्प्लॉय किए हैं, that provides the guideline for the strategies आपने बना लिया। जैसे टाटा ने क्या कि वो उनका विजन था पैसेंजर अफोर्डेबल पैसेंजर कार, मिशन how to create that car, the strategies, the guidelines for making that car, the tactics to be implemented। तो क्या क्या करना होगा, जैसे ये तो हुआ, तो हाउ, who will do the designing, from where will they get the financial resources, from where they'll get the technical know-how, from where to get the HR, everything. Then from tactics you get to operation, to carry out what has to be done daily. And finally the metrics, to measure, to see how effective your tactics have been, to measure their effectiveness. So this is the journey every organization has to take. Vision, mission, strategy, tactics, operations, metrics. A vision statement outlines what a company wants to be. It concentrates on the future. These are the examples of vision statements of some well-known companies. Tata Motors. By financial year 2024, we will become the most inspirational Indian auto brand, consistently winning by delivering superior financial returns, driving sustainable mobility solutions, exceeding customer expectations, and creating a highly engaged workforce. So that was their mission. Their mission is this. ये नहीं कह रहे कि हम कार बनाएंगे, मगर the cars of they want to create passenger cars which will be mobility solution. A customer का क्या expectations है? Then Panasonic Life Solutions, make a better, comfortable life with human-centered solution. ये भी जो सामान बना रहे हैं, तो यह it is customer centric. उनको क्या चाहिए? Microsoft, to help people and businesses throughout the world realize their full potential. ये कोई नहीं कह रहा कि I'll be making the profit. It is, they are focusing more on people, to help people and businesses throughout the world realize their full potential. वो इस तरह के सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलप करेंगे कि लोग अपने पोटेंशियल को समझें। एप्पल, मेक अ डेंट इन द यूनिवर्स, अरे कुछ ऐसा यूनिक चीज बनाएंगे कि दे लीव अ मार्क इन द यूनिवर्स। Amazon, कस्टमर सेंट्रिक कंपनी ऑन अर्थ, ये तो सीधा ही कह रहा है कि कस्टमर सेंट्रिक कंपनी ऑन अर्थ। डिस्ने, टू मेक पीपल हैप्पी, एक तरह से फॉर द हैप्पीनेस ऑफ द पीपल दैट इट वाज क्रिएटेड, डिस्नीलैंड, जहां लोग जाते हैं, एंजॉय करते हैं। Ford, people working together as a lean global enterprise to make people lives better through automotive and mobility leadership. Automotive and mobility leadership का क्या कि अच्छे से अच्छा कार बनाए through the cooperated effort of their people. तो ये तो विजन स्टेटमेंट है। ऐसे बहुत सारे कंपनीज है, सबके अपने अपने विजन है। अब टेकन दिस फ्यू एग्जांपल्स। A mission statement is used by a company to explain in simple, concise terms its purposes. For being, the statement is generally short, either a single sentence or a short paragraph. Examples, जैसे पहले हमने लिया था विजन ऑफ टाटा मोटर, ये छोटे में लिखा, we innovate mobility solution with passion to enhance quality of life. Panasonic Life Solution, we design, manufacture and market innovative products and human-oriented life solutions which enhance comfort, safety and energy efficiency to world markets by considering the satisfaction of stakeholders. जैसे अब आप Panasonic Life Solution का कोई इलेक्ट्रिकल इन लोग जा रहा था, तो इस तरह के डिजाइन होते हैं कि इट इज मोर अपीलिंग and more efficient, keeping people in mind. Microsoft, empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more through their software. Apple, to bring the best user experience to its customers through its innovative hardware, software, and services. Amazon, we strive to offer our customers the lowest possible prices, the best available selection, and the utmost convenience. Disney, to entertain, inform, and inspire people around the globe through the power of unparalleled storytelling. तो उस स्टोरी को इस तरह से कहते हैं, उसको जीवित बना देते हैं. The stories which we read on the books, over there we see it and we enjoy it, reflecting the iconic brand, creative minds, and innovative technologies that make ours the world's premier entertainment company. Ford, drive human progress through the freedom of movement. हालांकि अब तो इंडिया से फोर्ड चली गई. तो पहले आया विजन, फिर मिशन, फिर स्ट्रैटेजी. Strategic planning. Every company and organization plans for their business to provide action strategy to the team and achieve desired result. It is the vision of, that is what is the vision, how to achieve that. The क्या strategy हम अपनाएं, so that we can achieve our mission. A strategic plan is a high-level overview of the entire business. That is its vision, mission, and value. Under what value system? ये नहीं कि किसी भी तरह हमें करना है, नहीं है. I have to maintain my value. ये काम करेंगे, ये नहीं करेंगे. यदि इनके value system में वो नहीं है, तो वो नहीं करेंगे. This plan is the foundational basis of the organization and will dictate decision in the long term. The scope of the plan can be 2, 3, 5, or even 10 years. So manager, whether you are at tactical level or you are at an operational level, you have to look at the strategy. उसी से डिक्टेट हो रहा है आपका टैक्टिकल प्लानिंग भी, टैक्टिकल डिसीजन भी, ऑपरेशनल डिसीजन भी, ऑपरेशनल प्लानिंग भी. Manager at every level will turn to the strategic plan to guide their decisions. It will also influence the culture within an organization and how it interacts with customers and the media. Thus, the strategic plan must be forward-looking, robust, but flexible, with a keen focus on accommodating future growth. So what are the crucial components of a strategic vision? Where does the organization wants to be 5 years from now? 5 years bhi ho sakta hai, 10 years bhi ho sakta hai, but I have taken just 5 years over here. How does it want to influence the world? These are some of the questions one should ask when one delineate one organization's vision बनाते. तो हम ये देखना हम कहाँ चाहते हैं अपना कंपनी, हम क्या चाहते हैं, फ्यूचर के लिए क्या चाहते हैं. It is okay if the vision is grandiose and idealistic. ठीक है, क्योंकि अभी तो आप सोच रहे हैं ना, तो इसको ग्रैंड भी बना सकते हैं, इसको आइडियल भी बना सकते हैं. If there is any room to wax poetic within a plan, it is here. When it is creative, it is poetic. Then comes the mission. The mission statement is a more realistic overview of the company's aim and ambitions. ये अब कैसे वो विजन को हम पूरा करेंगे, तो थोड़ा धरातल पर, अभी आप एकदम ऊपर आसमान में उड़ रहे थे, अब थोड़ा धरातल पर आए. Why does the company exist? What does its aim to achieve through its existence? अब उसके values क्या है? Each organization has its own values. These values will guide managers and influence the kind of employees you hire. There is no template to follow when jotting down the values. You can write 1000-page essay or something as simple as Google's. Don't be evil. It's all up to you. It's simple सा है. अब आप पर है whether you want to be good or you want to be evil. But don't be evil. There are really no rules in writing the perfect strategic plan. There is an open-ended living document that grows with the organization. One can write whatever one wants in it as long as it dictates the future of one's organization. But ऐसा कोई hard and fast rule नहीं है. मगर हाँ, वो जो strategy आप जो बना रहे हैं, तो वो लॉन्ग टर्म श्योर है. क्या चाहते हैं आप, उसको किस तरह से लिखेंगे, ये आप पर है. अब जैसे वैल्यूज देखो, टाटा मोटर्स का क्या है? इंटीग्रिटी, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, एक्सेलेंस, पायोनियरिंग, यूनिटी. तो व्हेन दे आर डूइंग देयर वर्क, दे हैव टू कीप दिस वैल्यूज इन देयर माइंड. जिसको भी कुछ भी काम करें, ऑनेस्टी से करें, उसको अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी समझ के अच्छा से अच्छा करें, और पहले होने चाहिए. They should be the first one, pioneering, or there should be unity among the workforce of that particular organization. The 5 core Tata values underpinning the way Tata is doing businesses are. These are the 5 values of Tata Motors. Second, we were talking about Panasonic. तो ये है Panasonic के values. Fairness and honesty, gratitude, cooperation and team spirit. More or less same ही है, कहने का तरीका अलग अलग है. Adaptability, contribution to society, courtesy and humility. whatever you are doing, it is not that you are very, don't show off. आपको काम कीजिए, but humility and courtesy. You are working for consumer. You are consumer-centric organization. Untiring efforts for improvement. ऐसा नहीं कि एक बार आपने जो डिसाइड किया बस वो जिंदगी भर वैसा. There has to be focus on improvement. Improvement का हमेशा चांस रखना है. माइक्रोसॉफ्ट की क्या प्रिंसिपल है? 6 प्रिंसिपल है. इनोवेशन, ट्रस्टवर्दी कंप्यूटिंग, डाइवर्सिटी एंड इंक्लूजन, philanthropies, corporate social responsibility, and environment. Because see, today environment sustainability has been the main focus. क्योंकि हम लोगों ने अपने environment के साथ बहुत खिलवाड़ कर चुका. और इसके one of the reason why this pandemic happened, because we have misused our environment. So this is going to. So we have to focus a lot on keeping the environment safe and in good condition for future generations to come. Value of Apple क्या है? 6 principles है. Accessibility, education, privacy, supplier responsibility, inclusive and diversity, environment. तो trustworthy हुआ, सोसाइटी हुआ, एनवायरमेंट हुआ, इन सब के प्रति आप देख रहे हैं कि ऑलमोस्ट एवरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन द वैल्यू इज देयर, their value system, these things are mentioned. Values of Amazon, customer obsession. ये तो पहले ही it was written customer centric. Innovation, lifelong learning. इम्प्रूवमेंट का स्कोप रखेंगे तभी तो लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग. नहीं, हमने तो बस जितना पढ़ लिया अब नहीं, आगे नहीं पढ़ेंगे. इट इज नॉट दैट. लाइफ इज यू आर लर्निंग, ऑलवेज लर्निंग, टिल योर डेथ यू आर लर्निंग. कोलैबोरेशन, ओनरशिप, मेरिटोक्रेसी. यू विल गिव emphasis on merit. Trust, you have to have trust on your employees. Highest quality, think big, कभी छोटा नहीं सोचो. Think big, quick action, whatever you have to do it fast. Frugal, depth, openness and honesty, result oriented. Every employee a leader. So यहाँ you are focusing on every employee. Every employee is a leader. तो वो उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में छोटे पोस्ट पर है, बड़े पोस्ट पर, every employee has its own value. Disney का क्या है? As I told you, it is entertainment industry. Make everyone's dream come true. Never a customer, always a guest. वो customer नहीं, वो आपका guest है. आप उसको देखना आपकी ड्यूटी है. Dare to dare, माने आप में ये हिम्मत होना है, नया कुछ करने की हिम्मत होनी चाहिए. प्रैक्टिस प्रैक्टिस प्रैक्टिस, वही इंप्रूवमेंट, लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग, इंप्रूवमेंट. ये कैसे आएगा? यू कीप ऑन प्रैक्टिस प्रैक्टिस प्रैक्टिस. ऑल फॉर वन एंड वन फॉर ऑल. यूनिटी, ऑल फॉर वन फॉर ऑल. शेयर द स्पॉटलाइट. जैसे सप्लाई चेन में भी हमने कहा ना, रिस्क एंड रिवॉर्ड्स हैव टू बी शेयर्ड बाय ऑल द पार्टनर्स. तो ये भी जो है, इट इज everybody has to share that spotlight. Make your elephant fly and capture the magic with storyboards. But elephants cannot fly, but with your stories, your magic, you can make the elephant fly. Because they want to entertain the people. They want the people to enjoy. The company believes in creating a working environment where all people feel wanted, secure, and motivated to give their all. It does this by encouraging its workers to take bold steps into the future through technological embracement, corporations, and taking calculated risk. So, because the employees should feel as they are part and parcel of the organization. And they are working for the organization, and that should be the goal of their life, for the betterment of the organization. And that will happen only if the belongingness is there. Creating that feeling of belongingness is very important for the company. Disney supports its experts irrespective of whether they fail. किसी से कुछ गलत हो जाता तो don't take it as that is also an experience. Through failure also you learn a lot of things. As the company understand that through such efforts, that is how employees make the elephants fly. In turn, this explains the exceptional content and information that characterize the corporation. तो ऐसा वैल्यू सिस्टम होना चाहिए कि आपकी ऑनेस्टी, आपकी इंटीग्रिटी, आपकी योर responsibility towards the environment, towards the society, these all things should be incorporated in your strategies. अब ऐसा कुछ नहीं किए कि आपने तो प्रॉफिट बना लिया, तो सोसाइटी हैज सफर्ड. फोर्ड मोटर का क्या है? पीपल, प्रोडक्ट्स, प्रॉफिट्स. They also have furnished the guiding principles which help them to maintain their success. Quality comes first. Customers are the focus of everything we do. Continuous improvement is essential to our success. Employees' involvement in our way of life. We are a team. Dealers and suppliers are our partners. Integrity is never compromised. तो ये हमने कहा था ना कि this was given by Ansoff. It is known as Ansoff matrix. Here you are, through SWOT analysis, external or internal environment को आप map करते हैं, and then only you make strategy, and then accordingly you implement it. I think I should stop here. We'll continue with this in the next class, because all of you are, I think you're getting bored, or I don't know what, nobody is interacting. Even I'm feeling as if I'm talking to her.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night, ma'am. That was a
Good
nice
night. Good night.